Because I've had a lot of people ask me about doing it, and is it difficult? Is it worthwhile? Like, do I need to know a lot? Like, what, for all the people that are curious and that, you know, are at, let's say, an entry level in technical prowess and knowledge, you know, or even program literacy, who should get involved as a validator? How hard is it? What are the costs involved roughly? And even yield, if assuming maybe what we're seeing right now on testnet in terms of the validator rewards, if you could like put that all together, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. So a few different parts. Tackle the first one of should you be a validator? It's a question. I think it's a very good question. It's something that a lot of people are asking themselves, where they get halfway through and they say, "Oh, should I be a validator?" Once they get into it, so I think I would set expectations. So it's different today than what it will be in the future. I want to preface it that today we're at the frontier. We're at the, myself and other people are trying to automate and help and write guides and code and stuff to make it easier. But we're at the frontier. You need to set up your own hardware. You need to know how to do networking. You need to know how to at least run scripts, if not run commands. You need to know command line. A lot of these I take for granted. I mean, for me, it's like tying my shoes, knowing how to change permissions on a file. Like I've been doing it for most of my life, I guess I could say. So for me, a lot of it I take for granted. And then you get people who come in and they have all these questions, and me and God bless Gamma. He is tech support, and him and David Feeder both have been trying to help a lot of people with these questions that are just, they kind of ask questions sometimes where, and again, I'm the one that says there's no stupid questions. However, when you're asking questions that are like, if you can't run a command in the terminal, you probably shouldn't be a validator. Like you have to be able to run commands and understand at least kind of what you're doing before, or else you're just going to be lost. You're going to be frustrated. It's just not going to be a good experience. It's not that you can't be one. It's that you're just going to have a hard time. And then you're going to be asking for help. You're going to get frustrated when people get tired of answering questions, blah, blah, blah. So I would say, like, baseline, you need to learn, or you need to know a little bit about technology before you start trying to become a validator. Now that's today. However, in the next 6 months to a year, I hope, 2 more weeks, 2 more months, we hope there'll be more plug and play products produced by people in the community. Alex from Hedron has talked about a plug and play router type of box of, hey, you do a setup in the web UI, and if you can imagine that, how easy that would be to get to help further decentralize the network and get people set up correctly. And all that is like, why wouldn't it come? Why wouldn't it be there? Feeder's got validatorstore.com and stuff now and all that too. However, today, to become a validator, it's not easy. It's not easy unless you're very familiar with technology. And just to give you an example of like how not easy it was for not having a background in this, I started in, I want to say January, February. I started learning this stuff. I started deep diving and figuring out how to do it myself on Ethereum testnet. And I was very frustrated. I was like, how is this stuff doesn't make sense? How does this work? Oh my gosh, there's so many moving parts. All this different things. It took me, someone who's been in tech professionally, who's very good at computering, if I might say so myself, it took me a long time to wrap my head around how this stuff works and able to come up with the commands and learn from other people and write code that automates it. So if you're not at least vaguely familiar how to use command line, how to use Linux, networking, stuff like that, it's going to be a struggle. So if you're prepared for that struggle and you want to take it head on and you want to put in the time and energy, then maybe it's for you. However, if you're not, then just know what you're getting into beforehand. Don't rely on other people, to be around to ask questions and stuff, unless you want to pay for some consulting, which I don't do, but I know, I think Feeder and Gamma both do that. So get ready to take some classes or class yourself, educate yourself, because it's not easy.
So it sounds like the less you know, the more you pay, because you need to either pay for someone's time to coach you through it, or if you don't know, if you don't necessarily need to coach you through it because you have like a script or something that you could plug and play, you'll probably need some kind of support for if something goes wrong in the future, because you won't have any idea how to cover it on top of the hardware and everything else.
Yeah. So it's, I'll just, if you don't mind, share my screen. And this is what and I'll put this in private chat just and you can post it. I assume that I can't post it, so I'll just let you post it. But this has been one of my contributions to the community over all the stuff I've learned, is to help make it easier. I think that these scripts, you still need to know how to run scripts. You still need to know how to run commands and command line, but they take a lot of the heavy lifting out of it because, excuse me, because they allow you to do the minimum. Because if, I'll just open this one real quick. So, and a lot of this is like extra script stuff too, but if you had to type in all these commands and make sure they were correct yourself, it would be a lot of work and you'd need to have a lot of knowledge to even get through it. However, if you can run a script, and honestly, I don't believe that you need to know exactly how every piece works. Like, I don't think, I think there's some mindset too that's like, oh, you need to type in the commands manually to understand how this stuff works. And I'm like, well, like, that's like saying, and it's not exactly the same, but the parallel is like, well, you don't need a web browser. You just need to like run the HTTP protocol commands yourself, so you'll know how websites work. It's like, I think code is fine. I don't know. Of course, you're not gonna, if you do the commands, each one by yourself, you're gonna learn more. But are you trying to learn what each command does and the nuance, or are you trying to get your validator set up? For me,
Right.
I want to get my validator set up. And if I have problems, then we can kind of figure out what the commands do and stuff like that. So that's what I've tried to do here. I've tried to automate, I say just estimated 85% of the process of being a validator. You run really one script. You only have to run one script, and that's the setup script. And then you just do your staking deposit, and I have guidance on all that stuff. The README has grown so much. The wiki, I could affectionately refer to it has grown so much that I literally had to put a table of contents because there's so many sections now. But basically, you just run that script, and then you go to after running the script, and then you do your deposit on a different machine. I got all the commands. You do those manually, so it's not 100% manual. It's 85% estimated, and then you do your deposits. And you click some buttons on the web UI and go through that. But I think had my code and other people's code, Gamma scripts, David Feeder scripts, all this stuff, a lot of people in the community, TDS Lanes also wrote some scripts on it. Had these done exist, people would just be in Telegram, just like going back and forth forever on the same questions, which that's what I'm trying to avoid. That's like one of my things too, is like, I want to automate information if possible too. So instead of like you needing one-on-one tech support to set up a validator, as much as possible, if we can document the process and we can provide you /easy scripts that just, you put in the right parameters and it does most of it for you, that's going to literally save human consciousness. It's going to save time, frustration. I think it's helping people. I think that's what code does. Code, it's like technology. What's the definition of technology? You do more with less. What's the definition of code? Is like you waste less time, I guess. Like you've already did all the manual stuff through writing it down.